Hello, everyone. In this video, we will introduce the Clonable Interface. The Clonable Interface is defined as this in the Java API. Notice that this is the Clonable Interface. It does not have any contents. It does not have any method. It's an empty class here. So this is called a mock interface. It's empty body. It's a mock interface. So this is used to denote that a class possesses certain desirable properties. So now you can have a class implements clonable, means this objects from this class are clonable. So that is to mark this property. Many classes in the Java API, such as date, calendar, array list, or implement clonable. So they are clonable. Let's use some examples here. So here's the calendar, Gregorian calendar. And this, if you have this, assign calendar into calendar one. So this is not a clone. It's just you assign the reference from calendar to calendar one. To really make a clone, you have to invoke this method here is calendar dot clone. So this will make a separate, creating a separate object. So assign the reference to calendar 2. And you can see it from this output, calendar equals to calendar 1. This is going to be true because they are pointing to the same object. But calendar equals to calendar 2, that is false. They're separate objects. Now, calendar dot equals calendar 2. That's the that is true because it's a clone. The clone have the same contents as the original object. Now, you can also clone array list. So let's see, here is array list, and this is array list. I'm gonna make a clone of list 1. So list 1 dot clone, so that is list 2. And what is list 3? List 3 is just you assign list 1's reference to list 3. So list 1 and list 3 point to the same array list. Now let's do this. List 2 dot add 4.5. List 3 dot remove 1.5. So now we're going to display what's the contents of list 1. List 1 now you removed 1.5 because list 1 and list 3 are the same. So that is going to be only 2 items, 2.5, 3.5 for list 1. And list 2 you added 1, so that's 4.5 is added. So this is 4 items. And what is list 3? List 3 is same as list 1. So that's here. Let's look at this clone and array. So this is an array list. You can use this list 1 dot clone to clone an array. Array is object. So there's clone. So now list 2 is the same as list 1, same contents, but 2 objects. So let's assign 7 to list 1, 0. So this list 1 is right here. So this is becoming 7, 2. So that is the output. You're going to see this is 7, 2. And what about the list 2? List 2 is going to be this. Is you're going to change this. List 2 brackets 2 to 8. So this is going to be 1, 8. So there are 2 independent arrays. The clone method. So you have the clone method. If you define a class, you want to make your class clonable. So what you do is you have to do this. You have to first implement the clonable interface. And second, you have to implement this public object clone method to make a clone. So here, what you're going to do is you're going to do simply return super.clone. So the clone method is already defined in the object class, but in the object class, the clone method has the visibility is protected. So now you make it a public. And you invoke this super.clone, so that will perform a shadow copy. So all the data fields are going to be copied. All right, so this is we perform a shadow copy. So what is shadow copy? We're going to look at the difference between shadow copy and deeper copy soon. So now this is this clone mess through exception is called clone not supported exception. So that's, if that's the case, return null. So this is clone. So if you don't implement the clonable interface, that's not supported. Clone is not supported. Now here, this is the house also implements the comparable interface. All right, you can compare two houses. And how do you compare two houses? It's by their area. So this area is greater than the other house area. So return 1, less return -1, and else return 0. So that is all here. Now, the house I mentioned, this is shadow copy. What is shadow copy? So let's look at this. We're going to see the difference now. We're going to perform this. If you have everything here, now you're going to see this. I'm going to have this new house. So creating a house and performing a clone. So please note that clone, the signature here is the object. So that's why we need to do a cast into the house. So now you have this two separate objects. So this is house 1 and house 2. But you're going to see that the issue here is this built, when built. What is when built? When built is this, is the date type. So that's a reference type. And you, when you create a house, so you create this object, a new date assigned to when built. So when built is reference to the object. This is the date object. So this is the date. When you clone house 1 to house 2, so this ID is copied, area is copied, this when build is also copied. What is copied for when build is reference variable. So both point to the same object. So this is called a shadow copy. You only copy the data fields. Literally just copy the value of data fields, including the reference value. But what happens now, you change the when built for house 1, you also change for house 2 because they point to the same date. So in order to perform a deep copy, we are going to rewrite this code for clone. So for clone, we're going to have this clone, super.clone. And then we will have a new when to build. So here is also you have to clone. When built, we have to clone this at the deep level. So this is this. Now go back here to look at the deep copy. You're going to see this. If you use deep copy, so this when built in house 1 and in house 2, they point to different objects. Now here, for this implement the clone, and you can implement it in another way is using try catch. Here's try catch. So and here's try, because this super.clone may through exception. So that exception is a clone not supported exception. So this has to be put in try catch. And if you don't do a try catch, you can just say, I'm going to throw this way right here, and clone not supported. All right, that is all for this clonable interface. So a couple of points to know from this section. Many classes in the Java API implement the clonable interface. So those objects are clonable, and by invoking the clone method. The second thing is the clone method is defined in the object class, but in the object class, the visibility for the clone method is protected. So when you define your class that implements clonable, you have to make it public. Third, the clone method returns the object type. So when you clone something, you have to cast it back to the object. That is all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you on the next video.